Alright, Narwhals, we are going to be learning some more skills in GarageBand today. These skills are going to help you so that you can basically recreate any song that you know in GarageBand. And we're doing this because if you can recreate any song in GarageBand, then you can also create your own songs in GarageBand. And that's what I really want you to have the freedom to do. So we're all going to be recreating the same song this week, and that song is Rockin' Robin. So before we can learn Rockin' Robin, we need to look it up. So I just looked up Rockin' Robin chords. I just typed it in the top bar. I typed Rockin' Robin chords, and I just clicked on I actually clicked on the first link, and it brought me to this website, the one that I'm on now. It's like Ultimate Guitar or something. And at the top, it told me that I needed the app, but I could keep scrolling. You'll want to look until you find something that looks like this. It'll have the lyrics, and above it are these letters. And these aren't just letters, they're not just notes either, they're actually chords. And chords are groups of notes that when they're played together, they sound nice. And they form the harmony of our songs. So this right now that we see is basically an outline of the form of the song and of the chords that we're going to play. So for this week, we're not going to have to recreate the whole song. We're just going to recreate the verse and the chorus. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy these to Notability so that I can have them in the side view. So I press and hold on the word that I want to copy, and then I click and drag this blue bar until it covers a verse and a chorus. That's all we need. So I have one verse and one chorus, and I press copy. Now I'm gonna paste that in Notability. So I'm gonna open Notability, and I'm gonna start a new note once it loads, and I'm just going to paste my chords in there. And if you picked a good website, then it should paste and look something like this, where still the chords are over top of the words. So I'm going to want that Notability in there, and now I want to listen to the song. So I'm going to look up the song in YouTube. So the song we're doing is called Rockin' Robin. You might have heard it before. It's a really popular older song. And when we listen to Rockin' Robin, you're probably going to want to have the lyrics along the side, because what you're going to do is you're going to sort of like start to feel the steady beat, and so that you could sort of count how many beats you need for each chord. So you don't have to do this all at once, but it'll help if you sort of get started thinking about that now. This is the right one. Right. Okay, so I'm going to open up Rockin' Robin. You can actually do it the opposite way too with YouTube. You can put YouTube as a picture and picture on top of your lyrics. Alright, here's the verse. Okay, so that takes me to the end of the verse and the chorus. If you notice, I was counting along with it, and I was counting to 8, but I also could count to 4. So I'm going to put next to each line the number of beats that I heard. So let me see if I can write on this. Oh, I need my text. So each line I noticed was 8 beats long. So every single line was 8 beats long. The reason why that's important to know is because we know that every measure, well, not in every song, but most of the time, measures are 4 beats long. So we know that there are 2 measures in every line. That's really important to know because it's going to help us set up GarageBand. Oh, I don't know if you noticed this too, but the chorus, the chords were done moving by the end of Rock Tonight, but there were actually another 8 beats down here as well before anything else started. So, alright, so as we're going through, there's a couple things I want you to notice. The first thing is that some of these letters here have numbers next to them, like G7. That's a different kind of chord. It's called a seventh chord. But for our purposes, if you don't have G7 on GarageBand, you could just play it as a G, and it'll work fine. I'll show you both how to just play it as a G, and also how to play it as a G7 chord if you really want. I'll have an advanced version halfway through. All right, so what's really nice about this verse is that the whole thing can be played on a G chord. So in order to figure out how to perform it and set up the measures, all we need to know is that in this whole thing, there are 2, 4, 6, 8. There are 8 measures in this verse. So I could write a note to myself that this is 8 measures long. Okay, now the chorus is a little harder because there are chord changes here. There's a C chord in the first line, a G in the second, and oh my gosh, there's 3 chords in that last line. So if there's one chord per line, it's really nice because then we know that you play C for 2 measures, and you play G for 2 measures, and then over the course of 2 measures, you're gonna have these 3 chord changes: the C, the D, the C, and the G. So we really need to listen to that again and see how many beats is on each of those chords. You'll hear the instruments in the background change. So let me see if I can find it. It might take me a second to find it. Okay. So when we get to that last line, let's count how many beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Did you notice that this first one was 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first one was 4 beats. I'll write this as a reminder. This is 4 beats on the D. Then we've got 2 beats on the C, and then 2 beats on the G. I'm going to play that again for you, and I just want you to sort of count along with me so you could see how that is. Too far back. Let's see. There we go. Ready to count? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then that the second time that I count to 8, that's this bottom line, like the invisible 8-bar line that I wrote here. But we just hold this G chord for the other 8 beats, so we don't even need to worry about changing it after that. We just hold it. If there's no other letters changed, then you just keep on with the same chords. All right, now that probably sounds like a lot, but what's really nice about GarageBand is it sets it up so it's really easy for you to play along as long as you know the chord names. You don't even need to know how chords work. You don't need to know how to play them on an instrument. If you know what they are, then you can play them on GarageBand. So let's get rid of YouTube, and we're going to open up GarageBand instead. I think I just got rid of Notability too. I'll open it up later. All right, so we're going to open up GarageBand. I'm going to start a new song. And it really doesn't matter what instrument you're going to choose, but I think I heard guitar in there, so I'm going to pick a guitar. All right, now, this is not going to be the same speed as the Rockin' Robin that we heard, but it doesn't matter. The first thing we're going to do is set up our 2 sections. So I'm going to press the white plus. This is where we've been changing the length of the bars that we have. But we also are going to add another section here. So we have section A. I wonder if I could label that. No, I can't label it. That's all right. And I'm going to add another section, and that's section B. So section A is going to be our verse, and section B is going to be our chorus. So what's really nice, and I don't even know if you noticed me do this, but when I picked the guitar this time, I chose Smart Guitar. Now, Smart Guitar looks a little different because now, instead of the individual notes, I have chords. So all I need to know is the letter name of the chord, and when I press that letter, it plays the chord that I need. It's like really great. So I'm going to open up the chords that I have in Notability. Let's see if it's still on my screen. Oh, nope, I accidentally opened up Notability. You just need to drag it onto your screen. So I'm going to open up. Where is it? Aha, there it is. Sorry. Taking me a second here to drag this over to the side. There, perfect. Okay, so now I can, So now I could see that I have in the first section, in section A, the verse, I have all G chords. Now the first thing I want to do before I record it is just make sure that I have 8 measures in the first section, which I do. I have 8 measures. That's great. That's all I need. Now I want to make sure I have all the chords that I need. So I have G7 and G, but I don't need to play G7. Like I told you before, you could just play that as a G chord if you want. You don't have to change from G7 to G. So all you're going to have to do is literally let this thing play for you for the whole time. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to get this out of the way because it'll be easier to see everything. I'm going to do something called turning on autoplay. Now, if you might notice that I'm turning this dial. It says autoplay. If you have it off, then you have to repeatedly press the screen anytime you want to play the chord. But if you have it on, it'll play for you. Really nice. So I could change the sound of the guitar, and I could choose an autoplay setting. And once you find the one you like, all you have to do is highlight the G chord and press the record button and let it play. You'll notice that this at the top here, this will turn red when it's recording and it'll turn green once it's done. That's how you know you could stop. Okay, so first thing, I make sure that this marker is all the way back at the beginning, and I'm going to highlight G, and I'm going to press record. Here we go. So that's it. That's all I needed to do to record the guitar on the first verse. That's it. Okay, now let's go to the second verse. And this is where things get a little tricky. So I'm going to open up that Notability thing again. Turn on the chord accidentally. Okay, so I'm going to change something in Notability so that I can point to it for you, maybe. I'm going to have to exit this out. Give me a second. Okay, so I'm going into Notability. Now, if you want to be able to drag the screen around while you're performing, you need to have this finger tool highlighted before you put it in the picture-in-picture view. Now, I guess while we're here, I'll just show you. I want to remind you that in this chorus, there are 8 beats that are this first line. Okay, that's going to be 2 measures. Okay, now in the second, I'm going to get rid of that highlight. There's 2 measures in the second line, in the first line. In the second line, there's another 8 beats, and we're playing the G chord. That means we're going to be playing that second line for another 2 measures. Okay? Now, here's where it gets tricky, because right now we're going to look at these beats that we figured out before. Remember, there's 4 beats in a measure, so that means that we have 1 measure on D, 2 beats on C, and 2 beats on G. You don't need to write these things down, but I'm just writing them in case they make more sense than just these numbers I wrote before. Okay, so that's going to help me perform it. And then, of course, we know that there's down here this invisible bar of 8 measures, and then that's just a G chord for 8, or for, it's not 8 measures, it's 8 beats, so for 2 measures. Okay, so this is just a shorthand that I made up. You could do any type of shorthand that is helpful for you, or you don't even need to do anything. You can just follow my directions, honestly. But that's how you figure it out if you have another song you want to do on your own. So I'm going to, I keep turning on chords accidentally. I'm trying to open that side view. There it is. Okay, and I always have trouble putting it in side view. If it happens to you, then maybe it'll be a little relatable. Okay, so I'm going to drag into side view those chords that I figured out. And, oh, I forgot, I need that finger tool, so I'm going to get rid of this. I didn't follow my own advice. So in case you didn't either, that's what you do. You're going to put I selected the finger tool at the top. Now I'm ready to put it in side view. Watch me play a chord for you. Great. Okay, so now I'm ready to record, and before I even start, I'm going to practice. In my head, I'm going to count to 4, and I'm going to change the chords in the order that I see them. The C, I'm going to play for 2 measures. The G, I'm going to play for 2 measures. The D, I'm playing for 1 measure, and then the C and G, I'm playing for 2 beats each. It's going to take a little bit of practice. Now, you might notice already before we start that we've got a problem, which is we don't have all of the chords there. We have C, G, but we don't have this D chord. We have something called D minor instead. It says DM, D minor. Now, we can technically play that with a D minor chord, but it won't sound a lot like the song. So I want to show you how you could change that. So I'm going to go to my settings here, and I'm going to press this blue thing that says Edit Chords. And instead of D minor, we're going to change it to just a D chord, D major. It is with no letter next to it, it's D major. You'll notice that if I put it to none, it says major. So now I have the chords that I need, which is great. And we're going to get ready to perform it. Okay, so first I'm actually just going to practice it, playing it for the measure. So we got rockin', robbin', toot, 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 rockin', robbin', toot, toot, toot. That's me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I want you to notice what I did. I was thinking you could do it 2 ways. You could either count the beats. Well, you can actually do it 3 ways. You could either count the beats, or you could sing the lyrics. So for the first line, for the chorus, I was singing the lyrics. Rockin', robbin', toot, 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 rockin', robbin', toot, toot, toot. And then for that difficult line, I was counting the beats. I counted 4 for D, I counted 2 for C, and 2 for G, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then I just hold it for as long as it goes. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so now here's the third way you could do it. You can actually use the numbers at the top to help you figure out when to change. So for the first line, you're playing C for 2 measures. Each of these vertical lines here are a measure. So I'd play C until the line gets to 11. And then I play G for the next 2 measures until it gets to 13. Now here's where it's tricky, because if you have this view up, it's going to be blocked. But you could play D until it gets here, and then play 2 beats. Let me switch to the other side so you can see better. Play 2 beats. That'll take you halfway through, and another 2 beats. And then the last 2 are just the G chord. All right, I'm going to record this. All right, I'm going to keep this over here, because I think it'll be easier to see, like that difficult measure. But you're probably hearing the C chord. Okay, here we go. I'm going to move this over, and we're going to record this. And this is how you're going to record it too. Good luck. Here we go, right? 2 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Here's the 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's the difficult one. We got 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2. Then I will play for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so I play it for 4, 8 beats. You know, I play it through there. And if I go back, now I can listen to what I did. Let's see if I did it right. So I need 2 measures on C, 2 on G, then 4 beats on D, 2 beats on C, 2 beats on G, and then I just let it go. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Change. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, you can't really tell from just looking at my screen, but anytime I play a chord, I'm just tapping the bar where that chord is. Okay, so here's what we're going to do to practice. I want you to say the letter of the chord when I play it and when it's being played in the chorus. So I'm actually just going to play it on the screen and see if you could say it at the same time that I change it. Starting from the beginning of the chorus. 1, 2, ready, go. C, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. G, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. D, 2, 3, 4. C, 2, 3, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, this time I'm going to do it again, and I want you to count in your head and I'm just going to say the chords out loud. Let's see if you could say them at the right time. Good luck. Say the chords when I'm playing them. 1, 2, ready, go. C. G. D. C. G. That's it. You are going to record both the verse and the chorus. If you wanted to listen to them back to back once you're done, like so, I'm totally done with my recording now. Try to get rid of this. Okay, once you're done once you're done recording them, I'm going to go here and I'm going to choose this thing that says all sections. Then I could drag this triangle over to the beginning and I could listen to the whole thing. Let's see what it sounds like. Once you're done with that, once you record it on your own, you are going to submit this. Good luck to